Chico Lopez, you're going to love this video, guys, I promise you. My name is Chico Lopez and I'm a breeder of American Pit Bull Terriers for the last 34 years. We have accomplished more than any breeder dead or alive within the breed of the real American Pit Bull Terrier. So I'm going to be answering some questions that I believe that are meaningful. They do have some matter on the responses to these people. And one of the questions was, Chico, can you tell us a little bit what was some of the things that you consider to create these pets that you have today in the past? What was the beginning, how you came up with this dog that consistently we know is a game dog. We know it comes from the best dogs in the world, like let's say Atos, Ciega the Great, the Bagman, all these super dogs, and how these dogs are not aggressive or super crazy breaking everything in the house like the dogs that some of the people bred, and they are inconsistently not capable of being great pets. And I believe that that question has a merit to it. I believe that that is a solid question. And I believe that everything starts with the beginning when I started with the dogs. The first dog I ever had, I raised him as a pet. And I wanted him to be only a pet. Turns out to be the dog became a superstar, Bruno Boy, covered 2 magazines and so on and so forth. The story is there to watch or to listen about the Chico from the Bronx, the beginnings on how we started everything. So there are some historical parts of these, some historical events from the past that the only reason why we want to talk about them today is to give you a context to what's the future and how we got here. There's something that matches me and the American Pit Bull Terriers: never give up, but also the fact that we're very competitive. And so Bruno Boy gave me a blueprint that was difficult because he didn't have no pedigree, so pedigree didn't matter. He had all the qualities of a great dog except the ability to reproduce himself, because he came from nobody. He came from street dogs, literally like street level pit bulls, not just a street any dog, but whatever people looked and they called them pit bulls. Back in the 90s, those dogs, 80s and 70s, when you look at them and they call them pit bulls, they were not blue dogs or Merle dogs, XL, double X's, triple X's, bullies, none of that junk. They were more closer to an American Staffordshire Terrier per se, and mixing those dogs with American Pit Bull Terriers, some of them with Kobe dogs and so on and so forth. As a matter of fact, my Bruno Boy really looked like a Kobe dog. And so as I had this dog, I discovered one important thing for my journey, and it was that God does have a purpose for people. And I had a gift that nobody else have. I had a gift that it was super high level, important for who I became. I wouldn't be able to become the Chico Lopez I am today if I wouldn't have this gift. There's different things, different elements that I need to have. One of them was a very competitive. I always was number one. Everything I done, from schooling to whatever I did, I was competitive and I was number one. I wanted to win. I wanted to be the best. Having this dog, I learned that I picked up a dog between, I think it was a little 7 or 9 puppies. I want to say 7. And I was playing with them and playing with them and playing with them. And I like this dog and I like this one. And I started looking and observing this dog, and I said, this is the one. Boom, and I picked the dog. I have a dog, I have an eye for a dog. Victor Acar calls him the eye of the tiger. He said, you have an eye that nobody else has. He said, we got ourselves by pedigrees, by where the dog came from, and so on and so forth, stories. You have an eye for a dog. You can look at a dog and you can know where the dog has a potential or whatever. And the best time to look at these things is when they are just puppies. And so I picked this great dog that became a legend. But when I discovered that I went through the big door in the dogs with him, I didn't have anything to go with legacy-wise from him. And so I did have one dog. I understood that I had one dog, not one in a million, one in a billion. I could take 1 million dogs from New York City or from whatever city it might be, listening to this video, and we are not going to find a dog like Bruno Boy. And if you give me those dogs, and with all the knowledge I have for me to recreate what I did when I was 18 years old, I'm not going to be able to recreate it, even with all the knowledge I have. That was I call it that's like a Forrest Gump type of story. It was incredible. You have a super rookie guy, very excited, very motivated, and a super rookie dog. You know, the most you wouldn't suspect these guys had a chance, and that's what makes it so beautiful. Is that nobody gave us a chance. I was in New York City with a suit and tie, with this pit bull that had clip ears, that looked like a Kobe dog with the white brindle, and these guys had, you know, game dogs of black collar, bloodlines, buckskins, red noses, and I came and I took over with this, whatever, anything that was on his weight or whatever, it was done with this dog. And so for me to continue going forward, I understood that I couldn't take those people's dogs, their stories, their understanding, the pedigrees. If they couldn't have a better dog than Bruno Boy with all the stories, all the pedigrees. So then, and also I discovered that most people in the dogs are just scumbags. This like a community of people that really hate each other. Everybody wants to size their dicks, and they, at the same time, they want to be in a community, fake community, where it's the only place where they're actually successful in life. They actually call themselves dogmen. So say dogman, he's like, oh, I'm a big shot because I'm a dogman. The guy only owns a dog. The guy knows this guy, that guy, that guy, that guy, and he calls himself a dogman. So I understood that this word dogman was a wishy-washy word. It didn't matter. And I understood that there were bloodlines. But I was always very smart and understood that those bloodlines were not that important, because most dogs in the bloodlines were not the best dogs, were really irrelevant. They were only relevant to the owner. And that was an eureka moment, where that dog with the pedigree only is influential to that particular person. And the very best dogs were very few. And if you had a bloodline of 100,000 dogs, maybe 5 dogs were of big level. The rest were good, one little better than another. This one was missing this. Every owner wanted to cross this with this, because you want to cross because you're missing something. So they wanted to cross with this, they wanted to run with this. I understood these guys were absolutely dealing with the wrong dogs. So, because I wanted the best, I needed to discover what was to make the dogs the best. And we had the same tools at the time, and I needed to get some numbers. I needed to crunch some numbers. I needed to crunch numbers like if I'm in the NBA, and find out who, you know, the shooting points and who's got the most championships and so on and so forth. So I kind of look at the Sporting Dog Journal and look at the thing that Jack Kelly had built. And so even though at one point he had a B class, an A level, and B level, and because Jack Kelly understood there were levels, and the dog community was just full of crap, and so they were lying about their stuff and their accomplishments and so on and so forth. So I understood that we needed to find out who were the better dogs. And so we find out a bloodline like, let's say, Jeep and Honey Bunch were at the top of the charts. I started looking at the trail, the trends, and how the dogs were changing to red collar. I started looking at Mayday, at the dogs from Patrick, the dogs from Hollingsworth, but I didn't want to have all those dogs. I didn't want to have. Then I look at the page of Victor Akard, and I look at all these bitches he had. Most of them were given to him. So I don't know what kind of quality they were. So I started looking at the numbers of production, the rums, the real rums, and I understood that there's some dogs, even, you know, recently they had some dogs that were rums, where the dog is a black dog from Ecuador, he's rum, and all the dogs that made him rum, they either quit or they're about to quit. So I don't want those kind of rum. I want solid rums. I want super rum dogs that will be super great dogs, super quality. So I started to study, and I needed to see these dogs by myself. So I started looking at these great dogs. I look at Hunch when he was in action. I look at Barracuda, 600, also the Licardo, all these dogs. When by pedigree, the one that made the most sense was going to be the Mayday Blondie breeding, by pedigree. And that was one time that the pedigree actually makes sense. But it didn't make sense on the whole litters, on every one of those dogs. There was one individual. Unfortunately, this guy was a pretender, super pretender. The kind of guy that pretended to be a macho man, but the guy actually was a butterfly. And I guess that's why he called the dog macho. The dog was called Macho. He became Macho Wanton winner. I was able to engage with this dog, and actually I was able to see him myself. And when I saw him, I realized this dog was better than the dogs that everybody like. Better than Hunch, better than Lucane, better than everybody. But that's an information that I was very blessed to have. Another Eureka moment, another Forrest Gump moment. I was by myself with these two turkeys who don't know nothing about dogs, and I understood this dog was different and was superior. So when it came for me to breed my precious dog, Cheyenne, ROM, I didn't want to breed to Barracuda, although I could breed for free. I decided that after looking at everything, the Honey Bunch blood was going to be the most difficult one to develop. There were so many dogs with great pedigrees, but the dogs were actually worthless. And they didn't have the right speed, they were missing something. And I look at the dogs of Macho with Cheyenne, and those dogs were a lot better. Just when the leader was born, automatically I knew I was going to be the greatest. And I look at the Red Boy infusion, and then I knew the impact of fusion of Red Boy, selective Red Boy, not all the Red Boys. You see, I had access to a Smith's Red when he was in New York. Boomer was in my hands as a puppy with Lulu and all those dogs. So I was able to look at all these dogs, and I was able to look at meme stuff and the production of meme stuff with some really low life snooty dogs and some other BS. And I thought if he goes into the right dogs, and I did my first breeding with a daughter of a champion mechanic and Velvet, Red Velvet, which he was Smith's Red dog, bred to Meme's stuff, and I produced dogs that were very good, like Stuffy, Champion Stuffy, and Mr. Bulldog. So I knew I was going in the right direction with this Par Red Boy, which later on that dog got bred by Bobby Holland and produced this other dog that I used to have a sister to Heartbreaker, the mother of Sarge. So when I disconnected, I was in Brazil, disconnected from these dogs. When I was able to get my hands on Sarge, I just went and I bought him. And the one that offered me other dogs, and I said, no, that's the one I want. That one right there. I knew exactly what I was looking for on Red Boys. And I knew that when it comes to titles and stuff like that, it was very difficult to ask for those on Red Boy dogs. But this one particular Red Boy dog later on produced pure Red Boy champions, like Major and the sisters and the brothers. So it was a pretty good dog, very producing dog. If you know how to work with it, because when you have gunpowder, the gunpowder in the hands of the miserables, it becomes garbage. One principle that governed everything over all these, it was the understanding of the difference between good and great. Most people have a huge problem, huge disadvantage. They are so stupid, they could settle for good and celebrate, and they'll never reach greatness because they celebrate good and they stay stuck with good. They make ideas and stories in their minds why they good with good. Say, I'm good. No, I don't want to be good. I want to be great. There's a huge ocean between good and great. It's an ocean. It's a totally different thing. So when I wanted to get to build the rest of the dogs, I said, I'm going to Awesome Buck. I looked at him, at everything he had in him, and I said, this dog is above Barracuda. This dog is above Hunch. I saw all of them, and Awesome Buck was better. So I'm going to build around this right here. And I'm going to build around Awesome Buck. Awesome Buck was the center of the universe. And what I did is I created sons and daughters of Awesome Buck. Many of them. I needed to create many of them that were high quality, legendary dogs. And I'm going to make the greatest collection of legendary dogs of these dogs. And these dogs, I'm going to breed among themselves without pushing inbreeding. And I have dogs like the Bagman, grandson of Awesome Buck, Mechanic Buck, grandson of Awesome Buck. Atos is a great grandson of Awesome Buck. So as long as I have this Awesome Buck gene and I'm able to identify the Awesome Buck behavior, the Awesome Buck genes in the dogs, I'm able to create and continue to create great dogs. So we created these global grand champions traveling the world. We did more than anybody was willing to do, and they are so lost. It's like You have Who Moved My Cheese. That's another book, by the way. From Good to Great is by Jim Collins. It's a book. There are some people coming in here, young kids that want to learn. They're not the old school dummies that never became nothing. They're old timers by being dog owners, old timers. But read those books. Who Moved My Cheese, From Good to Great, and by Jim Collins, and then Built to Last, and all these other books by Jim Collins. Very good, because the perspective is about becoming better and continuous growth, continuous growing. So what I did was I took this beautiful stuff and I continued to travel around the world, and I took the world as my bench. The world was my bench where I work, and my home in Brazil was my laboratory where I worked, the mad scientists working, building, creating, testing, these, blah, blah, blah. And it's a long story, but at the very end, after many trials and errors and many victories and a few defeats that were very game, I realized I do have the best dogs in the world. I got to where I wanted to get from the time of Bruno Boy. I was able to design such a consistency on everything, on the whole style of the dog, the whole performing, the speed, everything that I built something on these dogs that was different. I put it there. And at the same time, I make sure that every single dog that I selected was my pet, was a great pet. So any one of those dogs could be no titles, Ciega no titles, Bagman no titles, Mechanic Buck no titles, and they will be the best pets in the world. Atos is a great pet. My friend just came over the other day, and he's sitting down in my living room. I just opened the kennel, let him go. He says, he's like in shock. I said, no, don't be in shock. The dog came over, started licking him and giving him, his back, and let him play with the chest. Like, oh my goodness, I cannot believe this. And he's like, wow, what a great dog. And so I was able to create something very special. I want to make sure that I couldn't involve anybody else's ideas or anybody else's way of thinking into my process, because they never achieve anything as big as myself. So their ideas that they never produce anything wouldn't help me in anything. So we continue to create these over 200 title dogs. We took the breed to different levels. These dogs walk into, the ESPN studios, with all these great celebrities and great people. There is people that own them, doctors, lawyers, engineers, as pets, and these dogs have better pets. They tell you, I have pit bulls from this, from that. Those dogs, I respect them. They used to be my dogs, but they're nothing compared to your dogs, Chico Lopez. And then I have the guys that, retire, say, I used to have bullies on dogs and blah, blah, blah. And now I'm an entrepreneur. I own this company, that company. They prove to me that they're not involved in anything illegal. And I have allowed a few of them to have my dogs. Chico, if I wouldn't knew that your dogs were this great, there was so much hate about you, I thought it was fake. Now I got these dogs. Just recently I met some entrepreneurs, guys living a Mac life, Ferraris, Lamborghinis, McLarens. These guys before they were entrepreneurs, they were in the swamp, and they had swamp dogs, Chinaman dogs and all that stuff. And they got disgusted with the community of the swamp. And that's why I tell you young guys, don't get involved into the forums, don't get involved into the chats about dogs and blah. Those guys are all losers. All of them are losers. All of them are losers. And those old timers, they losers compared to me. And they don't produce great dogs like I do. Period. I smash everybody. I change the whole thing, And so I don't work with breeders. And these guys, they've been following me since they were 12 years old. Met me one time at an airport, and they were like, hey, Chico, how are you? And I was like, who the hell are these guys? And I treat them very nice. And they were really shocked that you're such a nice guy. Everybody said you're a scumbag. And I'm like, no, they are the scumbags. I'm a nice guy. And we became not friends, but, someone that we met. Years passed by, these guys work very hard, own gas stations, own these, all that, hotels. And now they have children, and they want to have great dogs. So I bring them some puppies, and the guy says, I never had a dog come into my house. We never trusted them. They never had this energy. To see my children being inspired by these dogs We can tell the difference on the smartness, the beautiful dog, how it relates and everything. It's a different animal. These dogs were created by one mind. The mind of Chico Lopez, the one excellence, the one's the best. Not by a whole bunch of hooligans. Each one got their own idea and they mixing this pedigree and crossing and all that. No, we don't need that. I created a system where I don't need nobody. All of them can go to hell in a handbasket. I don't need them. I got everything I need. I prepare myself to be self-reliant and have everything I need. And that's why today, I don't work with breeders. I don't want to sell to a breeder. The breeder is the worst thing that can happen to my dogs. So we don't want breeders because the breeders already failed. There's two different swamps. The bottom level, the most disgusting, it's almost like a sourish. Those are the guys, the criminals, the rapists, the kennels, all those type of guys. Those are the nastiest people, the drug dealers, traffickers, all those scumbags in the dogs. You have some of them still in America. There used to be more, but still have some. And then you have the other level of the swamp, which is the secondary level of the swamp, which is the delusional idiot that maybe was born in the 80s, and the first dog he saw, they told him was a pit bull, was a bully, and a blue, and an XL, double X, triple X, that as soon as they get involved in today, you have the hood guy, like the guy in Canton, California, which is raising these mutts, bullies, and XLs, double X's, piece of crap dogs, but they still call them pit bulls. They're not real pit bulls, they fake. That's why I call the realpitbull.com. Those are fake pit bulls. Those are garbage dogs. But those guys, they think they know what they're doing. And if you take 10,000 of them all together, they'll really think they're doing something great. They own mutts, and when you tell them the truth, they're like in shock. They couldn't believe that all their lives has been a gabuso. All their life has been a fugazi. No, it's like the guy that's smoking all his life and never know he's going to get cancer. And when they tell him you're going to get cancer because you're smoking, you're like, the system fucked me up. Or the guy that's eating McDonald's and Coca-Colas and think he's going to live 100 years, and he find out that he's going to live to 50 because of that particular reason. Same thing. All those guys live in a gabuzo world of BS. And then you have the pretenders, the show guys, with the mafia of the judges, which are also breeders, which give ribbons to their own thing, their own people, and they go with the groupie girls, the boys, and smack them, and then the ladies also go and lay down with the guys. It's just a mafia. Just a little group of guys, maybe 100 dogs, 150 dogs get together. You give them a blue ribbon, a white ribbon, a red ribbon, and whatever they give them. This is just a fucking joke. They joke. It doesn't matter if they have 20,000 freaking points. Those dogs don't qualify to be in a yard like my dogs. So the American Pit Bull Terrier is only one. And the way for you to know what the real American Pit Bull Terrier is like this. There's only one. And this one that is real is like a Ferrari, like a Lamborghini, like a McLaren. A McLaren is real when it comes from the McLaren factory. The McLaren engineers work with it to make it better, a better car, a better product. But if you go and they tell you they have this new McLaren that is off-brand, it's fake. The engine is fake. The performance is fake. The only thing they have is a name and maybe a car. They're a car. So when you look at all these dogs, they call pit bulls like you're looking at cars. All different brands. The name pit bull does not specify quality. So what you got to be looking for is the brand, is the breeder. And how big the breeder is, how knowledgeable he is, how great the brand is going to be. This is the brand right here, Chico Lopez. What Chico Lopez created, the journey is the most important part. Because I created so many great dogs, and I continue to create these beautiful pets. I sell my dogs strictly as pets. People sign a contract against anything illegal. Plus, I listen to them, what they want to do, and I disqualify so many. My phone is like the Klein hotline. And then sometimes I get good people that call me. I'm a doctor, I'm an engineer. I got, David Dennis, the CEO of a company with Patrick David, with all these great people that are on my dogs. Got, Terrence Bob Crawford, Chris Cyber, Saul Canelo Alvarez, Julio Cesar Chavez, Hoyce Gracie, Marcus Pierce. We got great people. We got great humans. Laura, Debbie in Houston, all my friends with great dogs that make great pets. Ernie in New York, Capitan in California, all these beautiful dogs that are completely amazing. My friend Steve over there, my friend De Leon in San Francisco, my friend, all these De Leon and Steve, and also Ryan Shannon, they are war veterans. They're all my dogs. And they help them with the PTSD and all that stuff. Great project, different mindset. I don't go to no cooking bullshit. No, we don't do that. Chico Lopez mindset, only the best and F the rest. So whenever you see a breeder, compare it to Chico Lopez journey and pick the best. Pick whichever is the best. But understand, if what you want to look for, what you're looking for is other than a pet, don't even call me. I have no time for you. I don't talk dogs. I don't. I only give time to my customers, because my customer service is absolutely sensational. So I take care of my clients before, during, after, because I care about the life of the dog, because I love these dogs. When I started in the dogs, I started with love. And that's why my dogs, going back to the question, that's why my dogs are such a great pets, because I love them and I select dogs that can love me back. So the dogs became even better pets. So I have a bloodline called the Golden Vein, which took the real American Pit Bull Terrier, made it better, much better, 100 times better, global level, dogs of the year, and then also great pets. Chico Lopez, the only one. And you'll see people that criticize me, talk and cloud chase me, and maybe take this video and talk about it. And what they don't know is that on every swamp, there is a good person that by mistake run into the swamp and wonders, why are they talking about Chico Lopez? Who is this Chico Lopez? And when they come and find what Chico Lopez is, they leave them, they come to me. Because eagles will come with eagles, and flies will go with flies. My name is Chico Lopez, 123 pitbulls.com, chicolopez.com. That is me, the greatest American Pit Bull Terrier breeder dogman in the breed, dead or alive, by merits, by the things that we have done, by the journey. It was designed to be this way. And we saved the American Pit Bull Terrier for the best families and the best humans. God bless you. Share this message with your best friends. Tell them, do not be a breeder. You don't need to be a breeder. Everyone that tries to be a breeder became a mud creator, a garbage can dog creator. The shelters are full of dogs. They're rejected by other people. Treat your family to the best, not by what somebody else rejected. Get the best. You wouldn't go to the junkyard and get a car for yourself, rejected cars. So into your home, into your living room, bedroom, bring the greatest dogs from the world. 123 pitbulls.com, Chico Lopez, the only brand of real American Pit Bull Terriers. God bless you.